Salut tout le monde. Hello everyone. Hello Space.
Hello.
And welcome to the 8th episode of talk show La Taverne, Justice Appeal and the Shenmue Theory. So, so first of all, who is Space Junk? Because I think maybe nobody know you in the chat. So, somebody know you, but not everyone. So.
Yeah, at least Vert knows me. Well, first, I want to say thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm honored to be a guest. So who am I? I am, as your scene said, I'm an attorney. I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing. I'm in my 7th year as a lawyer. I'm also a Twitch streamer when I have free time. So I stream mostly older games because I stream from a MacBook, so my options are kind of limited. And I know we'll talk about games in a bit, but so right now I'm playing Final Fantasy X and sometimes Ocarina of Time Randomizer, but it makes me...
It's the first time you play Final Fantasy X, I believe.
That's correct. That's correct. It's my first playthrough. I love it, and we can get into that later as well. But yeah, so those are, I think, the two reasons I'm here. Those are the two parts of my personality relevant to the show. Full-time lawyer, part-time streamer. That is me.
Okay. So me, I am Sakade. So on my channel, we do a lot of games. And Mega Man, Monster Hunter, Sekiro, Dark Souls, lot of games. See in the bio for the details, but yeah, that's it. So when and why are you on Twitch?
So that story is actually related to why I'm here, because I got on Twitch. I think I made my account around 2013. I made my account like ages ago, and then I ignored it for a long time. But I came back to it a few years ago, about 2 years ago, I think, when I wanted to get back into French, actually. I wanted to improve my French comprehension because, as you may know, I studied French all through school. And then after undergrad, I was in France for a year working, but not really. I mean, I was working in a school. So I wasn't studying, I was working.
So Space, you are on Twitch because you want to learn French, but you speak English in your channel? I don't understand.
Does that make me seem like a hypocrite? No, I mean, well, let me explain. Okay. So I started watching Marco, who is a speedrunner of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. And I started with Marco because I'm familiar with those games. So I thought I would have some context clues for what he was saying. Because I know the game, so I would just be able to follow better. But then that like branched out to many Francophone streamers, and most recently to French Canadian streamers such as yourself. Only recently, because you guys for me are like the final boss in terms of comprehension for me, because I'm just not accustomed to the unique vocabulary and accent. I know that there's more than one accent, but you know what I'm saying. And I don't speak French on my channel because, well, maybe I should, because I'm a coward, but maybe one day I will. But mainly, I didn't join Twitch to stream in French. That would be a very brave thing to do, but I'm not that brave yet.
But you have some French.
Why are you on Twitch? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
But you have some French people in your stream, no?
Yeah, that's as a result of hanging out on French channels. So like, mostly I've spent the past 2 years watching other French people or French-speaking people play Zelda games, and so I've made friends through those streams, those chats, and some of them have come to watch me as well. So really, it was like an educational project, and I wasn't anticipating streaming myself at all. uh, until why did I start streaming myself? Oh, I think because I wanted to play Silent Hill and talk about it.
I know the reason, because
Why? What's the reason?
you want to experimented people. When you stop your stream, there's a page and the.
That's right. Yeah, that's from a movie called Solaris. It's like a Soviet sci-fi film. But no, I think the real reason was that I wanted to talk about Silent Hill with other people, like while I was playing the game. It's kind of what I'm doing with Shenmue now. Like I want to talk through the game with people who love it or hate it, but with people who want to talk about it. And Silent Hill is another one of those series that really has its hooks in me. Like I love Silent Hill.
Okay, you like horror games or you like horror games?
Yeah, but yeah, I haven't played like any modern horror games really. But I still find Silent Hill for the PlayStation 1, I find that genuinely like still scary. And when I play it, I get jump scared all the time. And I don't know, it's still very effective even though it looks obviously very dated. It looks very old.
Do you have a theory about Silent Hill 2, or is just Shenmue you were thinking about?
I don't have any specific theory on Silent Hill 2, although I definitely have Silent Hill or any game. I have like very strong opinions. They're like debates within the Silent Hill community as to like whether there are parallel dimensions or whether there's one dimension, or like what's the nature of the monsters. Are they real people that the protagonist views as a monster, or are they really monsters? So these are like probably really pedantic debates within the Silent Hill community that interest me because I'm a sicko. But I want to know so did you start, like, tell me kind of how you started streaming, if you wouldn't mind, or like how you went from like viewer to streamer. What was that progression for you?
I have a friend that told me about Twitch. So first I was a viewer, and then I view some streamer. And 2 years ago, I began streaming. And the reason is I want to finish my games.
That's a great reason.
Yeah, I have a lot of games and I want to finish it, and it give me the motivation to do it. And you see, to discover new people like yourself and like the people in the chat. So I think that 2 reasons this is that I stream right now, and to do I have new concept every day. So like the talk show, like the speedrun of Donkey Kong Country 2, and
right.
So that's why.
Yeah, your stream or your channel is super varied, because like for those of you who are in the chat who may not know you, I should plug in my computer. Like you stream virtually every day and multiple games per day. So you like cycle through stuff. And have you found that since you started streaming, you are finishing games? Like has that worked?
Yeah, but I finished the game online and offline for the 100%. Like Lego of the Lord of the Ring, I finished it offline for the for the 100%, and then I show you what the result is.
I get that. You don't want to subject your viewers to like the 100% grind, like the collectathon. I understand that.
Yeah, but I do it sometimes on stream too.
Are you gonna finish? Like with Sleeping Dogs, how are you gonna 100% that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Vert in chat has played Sleeping Dogs. I want to say, hey Cal, hey Mangles. All right, cool. Some people, we got some people in the chat. So what did I want to ask you? Like, otherwise, though, are you the kind of person that just doesn't finish games? Because I am exactly that kind of person as well.
It depends which game. If it's boring, I don't finish it, but it's interesting. I try. Yeah.
That makes me think I should play Majora's Mask on stream. Have you played Majora's Mask?
No, I play Ocarina of Time for the first time. So
How though? How is it your first time playing Ocarina of Time?
Not first time, second time. I didn't finish the game, so.
Did you play as a kid?
Yeah, but not for long.
Oh wait, okay. I need to know why didn't you finish Ocarina of Time as a child? Did you get stuck somewhere?
No, it was boring. Yeah.
You can't say that.
I can say that, but it's my stream. I do what I want.
It was boring. That's absolute heresy to say that.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you think about it now that you're playing as an adult?
No. Okay. It's not boring. I see some reaction in the chat. Okay. It's not boring, but I prefer what I was a kid. Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
Conquer Bad Fur Day. Those kind of game. That's a long game that takes some time. So.
Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Oh my god.
But I love Zelda. But when I was young, I was really impatient. So now I'm more patient.
But you play Link to the Past randomizer, don't you?
Yeah, one time a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you play Link to the Past growing up?
Yeah. I love this game.
And you didn't think that was boring? Ocarina of Time was boring.
Yeah.
Not Link to the Past.
Yeah, it was on Super NES. So.
That's crazy.
Because it's not long when you walk one side and it's a 2D interface. It's not a three dimension, so
right.
2 dimension is really long to go to the forest to Hyrule Castle. So
that's true. You do have to hike across Hyrule Field a lot in Ocarina of Time, but you get the warp songs on Ocarina. So Cal in the chat is saying Link to the Past rando is insane. To watch. Incredible knowledge is needed.
Yeah.
I would really like to try it. I've played the vanilla game a few times through, like maybe three times in my life, maybe. But it sounds like, it requires like a deep familiarity.
I finished it 5 times, Link to the Past, when I was young, so I have a little knowledge, but some chests are hard to find. Yeah.
I kind of want to try it, but like what I was starting to say earlier is I think I should play Majora's Mask on stream because it would help me finish it, and because people could help me with it, because I think it's super hard. I find it really intimidating.
Yeah. It's the concept of time in the Majora's Mask that's difficult, and the big moon that crashed in the village.
Exactly. Exactly, and even the saving system, like it's just such a different game. Little things that just make it scary to me, like I'm insecure that my file didn't save. I'm insecure that, I don't know, I just feel like I'm gonna screw it up. And when I've played it through, I've gotten as far as Great Bay Temple, and then I just got stuck.
Okay, and did you search for a solution or?
I must have, but I don't remember why I put it down.
Motivation?
Maybe. I feel like I got soft locked, but there's no way that happened. Yo, Queen. We got Queen in the chat. So yeah, I think I would like to play MM and have it be like backseating encouraged, because I would need help, because like same with Final Fantasy X, which you've played, right?
Yeah, I finished it, and I finished the 10 too, the next game. So,
what's your opinion of that? Because I've heard really mixed reviews.
Oh, I love it for the
costume.
X2? For the costume, yeah, for the when the Yuna Riku and Pain change, in combat.
Wait, don't spoil it. Don't spoil anything about Final Fantasy.
Okay.
10,
Sorry.
10-2, X2? No, that's okay. I didn't even know Yuna was in it.
Okay.
I know nothing. I know nothing about the game. I know nothing about how Final Fantasy X will end.
Okay.
I think I'm about halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a desert sort of wasteland area right now.
The Sahara Desert, yeah.
Exactly, and I keep dying. Yup. Well, I might have derailed us from what you wanted to talk about, sorry, but I really like hearing about why people
But in the desert, you see the big worm. I see it on your stream yesterday, the big... and you have some hard time to kill it. No, thank you for the follow, Kaladis.
I was indeed having a hard time. I was having a very hard time. I was drinking. But I think someone in the chat, I think it was Bugman, was saying, like, no, there is objectively like a big increase in difficulty at that area. He might have just been trying to make me feel better. I don't know. Yo, it's Gamer Boys.
Hey,
what's
gamer.
Up?
I'm fun and new gamer. So, what begins your passion with video game? What is your first console? What the first game you play?
So, this is a cute question. So, when I was growing up, I did not have a Super Nintendo, but my across the street neighbor did, and we rode home on the school bus together. And I would go to her house and we would play Donkey Kong Country. And we would play Mario Paint.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I got to play Link to the Past at someone else's house. And I was like, holy shit. And then around the same time I got a Game Boy. Mm-hmm. Not a Game Boy Color, just a regular Game Boy.
Black and white.
Black and white. And I had Link's Awakening. And I had that and Mario Land, which is so punishing. I never beat that, and I never will. But with Link's Awakening, which I also never beat because I was a dumb little kid, I was just like so fascinated. You remember like the art style of Link's Awakening? It's obviously very blocky and pixelated. It's a Game Boy game. Mm-hmm. And I would take like grid paper and I would like make fan art, like filling in the boxes of the grid with the pixels. Mm-hmm. And I would like put it up like next to my bed. I was so obsessed with Link's Awakening. And so that was like the start of my passion for video games is the same thing as my passion for Zelda games. Okay. They're one and the same.
Okay. And what is your favorite character in Zelda?
Midna, and there's no hesitation. It's Midna. Have you played Twilight Princess?
Yeah.
Do you like that game?
Yeah, it was sombre.
It was.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that that feeling.
I think I don't know. It's only Zelda that is more dark. It's
well, Majora. More...
Yeah,
Majora is pretty dark. There's some YouTube video that I love that's like, I forget the title, but it's something like the darkest Zelda game. And it makes an argument that every single Zelda is the darkest Zelda game. Okay. Including like Wind Waker, like games that don't seem dark, but it's like in a world that is completely flooded and people have clung to the mountaintops to escape the ocean that has destroyed cities. Like, so they make these funny arguments why every Zelda game is the darkest Zelda game. But Twilight Princess wears it on its sleeve. And Midna, I mean, people in chat know that I cry pretty easily, but when Midna leaves at the end of the game, she breaks the mirror. Yeah. She severs the connection between her world and Link's world. I was sobbing. Same at the end of Ocarina of Time. Like, I am weeping. Just inconsolable. Even when I finished a rando seed, the end cutscene in Ocarina of Time, I was weeping.
Okay.
Like, I'm insane, but the games have such powerful, like, they hold such powerful emotions for me.
And do you cry a lot in your stream, or just?
What? Do I cry a lot? Not on purpose. I mean, yesterday I must have just been really emotional because I cried like 3 times. I cried at the cat. I cried at the old lady. Maybe just twice. But no, I don't try to cry. Oh, I cried ranking Final Fantasy VI character themes. So yeah, lately I've been crying a lot on stream. But to be fair, those are emotional things. They are designed to be emotional.
Yeah.
So it's normal to have emotions. Have you cried on stream? I can't imagine you crying on stream.
Not cry loud, but when it's
like a little tear.
Yeah. At the end of Shenmue, I cry a lot.
That's a lie. Did you really?
No. I was glad that I finished the game.
You were glad it was over.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I didn't see you play Shenmue 1. I only saw you play Shenmue 2, I think. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so you didn't see me do the lift course? Okay.
No, maybe you can help me with the forklift race. Jesus Christ. My opinion about that has really changed, though. Like, I used to think that I was talking about this in my Discord yesterday. I used to think that so many parts of Shenmue were there just to kind of pad out the game, make it longer, without necessarily making it.
We'll talk about it later, Space.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Tree block.
Sorry.
What do you think of the new Zelda? You're a fan of Zelda. Did you play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, or it's just you stop at Ocarina of Time and?
I played Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
A lot. Many hundreds of hours. I got Tears of the Kingdom. I played it for a few hours and I put it down and I have never returned to it.
Okay.
I don't know why, because they're not dissimilar. I think what turned me off about it was like I guess crafting emphasis.
It's an open world too. It's a really vast.
Right, that's a good thing though. I mean, I enjoyed that in Breath of the Wild. But I know so little about Tears of the Kingdom. I've managed to avoid spoilers. Like, I don't watch any streams of it because one day I do want to go back to it. I mean, have you played? Is it?
Yeah, I have Breath of the Wild, but I didn't finish. It was so long, so yeah.
Well, you can speedrun it.
No.
Have you tried Tears of the Kingdom?
No.
Why not?
I don't have the game, so.
But I mean, do you want to play it? It sounds like no.
Yeah, but I need to finish Breath of the Wild first, and.
You're never gonna do that.
Yeah, motivation is
Why do you think you got demotivated to finish Breath of the Wild?
Maybe it's too vast. Maybe it's I don't know. It's I see some stream too. Maybe I got spoiled on some points. So
that's fair. Yeah, I like completed that game to the extent I could. I didn't excuse me. I didn't get all of the Korok seeds, but I got 400 of them. I don't know. And then there's like a sort of master quest, like hard mode you can play.
Oh.
And so but I have not been able to complete it on that because it's really hard.
I am not a fan of New Game Plus. Some game has this option, New Game Plus. I just do one time the game at 100% or close, and then I switch. It's not.
Yeah, you do tend to move on. I like it in Silent Hill games. They'll give you like a really fun weapon, or like a really silly Easter egg thing, like in Silent Hill 3 and New Game Plus. Um, the protagonist Heather will have a sort of like Sailor Moon costume, and it makes the game seem silly, but at that point you've played the game in serious mode, and so then you can really like have fun with it. And she has like a laser eye weapon.
Okay.
And I think there's like a lightsaber maybe. Anyway, but yeah, I don't object to New Game Plus.
So, what is your favorite game? I already know the answer, I think. And the game you hate the most?
So I would say Silent Hill 2 is probably my favorite game. Maybe that, I think so. I don't like think about it too much, but I feel like when I play that game, it feels like I'm coming home, which is funny for a horror game, but it feels
Okay.
it's a warm blanket. I feel safe there. I understand
fog,
it there.
with the fog and the.
That's right. Yeah, the fog welcomes me on in. Game I hate the most. I don't know. I don't tend to play games that I hate, obviously.
You like Fortnite?
I've never played Fortnite.
Okay.
Hang on, let me think about that for a second. Well, I hate Skyward Sword in a lot of ways, the Zelda game, but I can't say I like hate it the most. But in terms of Zelda games, it's at the bottom of the list for me.
Okay.
Have you played that one?
Yeah, but I didn't complete it.
Oh my
so
god!
I need to, yeah.
Well, I don't blame you because it makes you fight the imprisoned 3 times. It's so tedious. Like that game, talk about artificial padding. That game has a ton.
Okay, let's just say got to the final boss. Stop playing.
Oh, I've never played Roblox either. Wait, so Cal, oh, okay, we are being defamed in chat. We are being called cheaters, and that is wrong. We are not cheaters. That's false. I will defend my honor and yours.
I think E is the cheaters.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So, my favorite game, if you want to know,
I do.
I say Dark Souls right now. Yeah, Dark Souls 3. I love the challenge. When I am a stream, if I don't have challenge, it's super boring. So, yeah, I say Dark Souls 3. The game I hate the most, I say Fortnite. I didn't play, but I say Fortnite.
Why, if you didn't play?
Oh, it's a shooting game. Always shooting. I am not attiré.
You're not attracted to
attracted,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the game who don't have a story, no, it's a no for me. And yeah, the game I hate the most. I really don't.
So, Fortnite, I think I've seen Thunder play it once, and it looked fun. I don't know. I think the culture around it is kind of annoying, but only because it's like, I think I just feel that way because I'm not included in it, but only because I have chosen not to include myself in it. But when it's like, for a long time, that was kind of like the mainstream gaming culture thing with like all the fucking dances and shit. And I didn't know any of it. And so I just felt like very alienated. But because I don't have like a PC, I'm usually not in the mainstream like gamer culture, so to speak, because I just play like old ass
You're
games.
not into Fortnite, so you don't know if you like it or not.
Well, I can't say I hate it or like it's my least favorite game. If I've never played it, I don't think I can say that. I'll just dump on Skyward Sword.
Okay. Will you play Fortnite?
Can I? Can I play it on a Mac?
Don't know. You
Like you said, it doesn't attract me. That game doesn't attract me at all. The only shooting game I've ever really enjoyed was GoldenEye, but I suck at GoldenEye. I'm so bad, but it's fun. It's nostalgic.
Fait oui, un bug à 2000 PC juste pour le game, video game for 1996.
Cal. What game? Cal. What? Wait, can we guess what that is? Seka, did you know what game that might be?
96. Castlevania, no. 96.
Ocarina of Time.
No. No.
But you don't need a $2,000 PC to play Ocarina of Time. What? Huh? All right, Cal will have to explain that to us.
Maybe you change the graphic on the emulator? I don't know.
Well, Cal plays a PC port of Ocarina of Time, but it's not like you need a fancy computer to do that. Like, I can play the port on my shitty MacBook. Queen points out maybe he wants to avoid his laptop catching on fire. That's fair. That's a good point. I play a lot of things on emulators and they do tend to crash. So, fair point.
Okay. So we change the subject, donc the second block. When begins your passion for justice?
For justice.
For justice.
So I thought about this in advance, but I'm still kind of gathering my thoughts because I'm very ambivalent right now about my career. I did not start out wanting to be a lawyer ever until I was almost 30. Like, I studied art history in school. I went to graduate school for art history. I was very how to put this? I really believed that I had one path in life, and that was to be in academia as an art historian. And I only believed that because I didn't know about I just hadn't considered anything else. Like, you do well in school in your subject, and so you just keep doing that thing. My cat is making an appearance. So that became untenable, like a career in academia. And so I was unemployed for a while. I took a job doing tech support that sucked. And then eventually law school was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I knew, like, so my parents are both lawyers as well. So that seemed like at least I like know what this would entail. Like, I understand what this sort of like commitment would look like. I had context for it. But so I wasn't like, I'm going to be a lawyer when I grow up. Like, never. And so when I was in my late 20s, I went to law school. So I was quite a bit older than everybody else, because in the United States, you start law school typically, if you go straight through, when you're 22. And I was like 28. So I don't have like any great origin story. It was like failures. I like failed a few times to really get started on something else before I went to law school.
Okay. And what is your specialty in the field of law?
So I specialize in labor and employment law. And so in the US, that labor law refers to the relationship between employers and unions primarily. I don't know how it is in Canada or really anywhere else, but there's unions in the US are pretty weak, and labor law is also pretty weak. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But employment law, on the other hand, is the law that applies to every employee, whether or not they're in a union. Those laws in the US are like very sort of patchwork. Like, having an employment contract is relatively rare in the United States. So you can more or less get fired for any reason, except if there is a law that like carves out an exception. Okay. So employment law is Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. The answer to your question, sorry, was labor and employment law.
Okay. Okay. Are you the side of the defense or are you a prosecutor? I don't know if it's the right term, prosecutor, but I learned it in Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.
Yeah, so prosecutor is normally used in criminal law, but that is basically what I do. So in civil law, meaning not criminal law, there's usually plaintiffs and defendants. So plaintiffs are the one filing the lawsuit, and defendants obviously are defending against it. So I've only ever been on the side of the plaintiff, or what you would call like a prosecutorial side. I'm always the aggressor.
Okay. And what are the things you like working in the court of law?
I like the mental challenge of it. I would say, Vert just asked a question in chat that I am extremely, I want to answer very much.
Mhm.
So, law is extremely intellectually stimulating in the abstract. The day-to-day of it is not necessarily, but that's what I like about it. I also like that you can, I mean, in the US, our legal system is driven by case law. It's a common law system, so judges decide cases based on how other cases have been decided. And so the law then changes very incrementally based on how judges look back and interpret older cases. So if you can get a judge to buy into your theory, you can, just as an individual lawyer, change the law in a direction that you want. And that's wild to me. However, if you lose, you might set the law back. So, like, it feels kind of high stakes and consequential, and that appeals to me. And then winning. This sounds like petty, but there are very few professions. I can only think of sports and law where there is a winner and a loser. In business, there can be winners and losers, but there's no referee saying you win, you lose. But in law and sports, there is. And when you're the winner, it's the best fucking feeling, man. Like,
and do you win?
won.
Do you win a lot, or do you fail a lot?
In oral arguments, I've only lost once. I win almost every oral argument, or I have won all but one oral argument I've ever done. So I've got a pretty good record. Thank you for asking.
So the question, do you have time to get into what Jetson mean in Phoenix Wright versus Real Trial? Okay.
Yeah, so I played Phoenix Wright. And if memory serves, he says objection when a witness has contradicted themselves.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So that's just not an objection. So what that is a witness being impeached. So here's when you would use objection. Objection is for evidentiary issues. Like, let's say in Phoenix Wright, the other side introduces a document that has not been authenticated, or something is hearsay, or a question is improper in some way, like calls for speculation. That's when you would say objection, and you don't then explain objection. This did this, and then this did this, so then therefore this. That's completely inappropriate. You say objection, hearsay, or something like that. And then the judge, if they want to know more, they will ask you, but they usually don't. And the reason is because there's a jury, and what we like speaking objections where you're like making arguments is totally inappropriate to do in front of a jury because it influences them. So what a judge will do, if they want to hear, but usually they don't need to hear anything because they know, but if they want to hear, they will have a sidebar, which means they turn on a white noise machine so no one can hear, and then just the lawyers go up to the bench and explain the objection. But it is never over these substantive issues like it is in Phoenix Wright. It is like if a witness contradicts themselves, you deal with that on cross-examination. And then you don't get to say, see, you contradicted yourself. You don't say anything. You sit back down. And then in your closing argument, you say, ladies and gentlemen, this witness is full of shit. You heard them take the stand and say all this bullshit. you can't trust them, but you do not say that in the questioning. You only say that in closing argument.
Okay.
Sorry, I get fired up about this because it's such a misrepresentation.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, Bert.
If you can share with us, donc, do you have an example of a case you work with, if you can?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one I've shared before, so this will be repeats for some people here, but so I once represented someone who was like a fast food worker. So he wasn't making a lot of money. And that's important because when you're on the plaintiff side, usually your client can't pay you by the hour. So what happens is if you win, you'll get like a third of the winnings. And so if somebody doesn't have a lot of, if their wage is not high, then if you win, the full amount will be less. And so the lawyer's fee will be less. So that means a lot of lawyers will not take the case of people making, minimum wage because it's just not worth it to the lawyer. They'll put in, let's say, 1,000 hours into a case. And if they're only going to get $2,000 out of that, like that's insane. So, but I used to work at a law firm that was very well capitalized. Like it had enough money to take on a case and to spend a lot of time on it, even if the earnings on the case would be low. So anyway, so that is all this preamble. So I represented a fast food worker who was fired basically because he was having like a mental health crisis. And in the US, it is illegal to fire someone for a disability, be it an actual disability or perceived disability, if the employer perceives the employee to be disabled.
Okay.
And in this case, the employee was just having a lot of stress in his life. Sorry, my cat. And I should say, I'm going to talk about some sensitive topics, like suicide. So just previewing that if anybody is uncomfortable with that. So he did try to take his life. And after that, he didn't, he survived. And then after that, he took some time off from I'm trying not to say the name of the fast food place. And he took some time off. He got a therapist. He started getting some treatment. And he had been working full time, by the way. He was like the main breadwinner, as we would say, the main earner in his family. And so he had been working full time. And so he has this sort of moment of crisis. He takes some time off. He comes back and he says, "Okay, I'm ready to come back to work." And the manager was like, "We think you're unstable. We think you're a little bit scary and crazy, and we don't want you to come back to work full time because you're just going to try to kill yourself again." And he was like, "No, for real, I need the money. I need to come back. I'm good. Let me take care of my own business. I'm good. I'm getting treatment. Let me come back." And they were like, "You can come back part-time." And so he was like, "Okay, fine." So he comes back, and then the managers are just treating him like shit. Like they are treating him very differently from how they treated him before, in a bad way. And so he then meets with a bunch of his coworkers and talks to them outside of work. And he's like, management is treating me differently since I came back. And management learns of this, and then they fire him. And when they fire him, they say, "We heard you were talking to other employees," which that's a legally protected thing. "And also, we don't think you're stable enough to work here anymore." And so they fired him, which is obviously, that's how you hurt someone. Like, come on. So we litigated that case up until trial. It did not go to trial because it settled. And I'm very proud to say it settled for like a life-changing amount. And I'm just really proud of that result, because as a result of this, he like started his own business.
Oh.
He was completely free of this employer forever. And talk about crying. I mean, this employer like tried to humiliate him in his deposition, just like questioning him about his mental health in such an invasive and disrespectful way. Um, and I just had to be there, like, objection, objection, like, stop. This is improper questioning. That's when you, and this is not in trial, but in the deposition. And and it was like a giant multinational corporation versus me, a first year attorney. It was like David and Goliath, but to the extreme. And there was no winner because it didn't go to trial, but I feel like we won because we settled the case in a way that really, like, that he was very happy with. So I get emotional talking about this because it's like, I felt like I really got to stand up against a huge company on behalf of somebody who otherwise would not have gotten representation.
So you changed life as a lawyer.
You can, yeah. So I'm really, really proud of that case.
Okay.
I'm emotional talking.
It is hard to work as a lawyer in the United States.
Sorry, your audio cut out. Did you say, is it hard?
It is hard, yeah. Yeah.
It is. I mean, the hours can be long. The people can be assholes, but it can be super rewarding because you are making extremely like tangible differences in people's lives if you can help them kind of get back on their feet after they've been fired. That's a big deal, because when you get fired, I don't know if you've been fired before, but like with a lot of clients, they identify, like, their identity is wrapped up in their job or their and what they do. Like, maybe not somebody who works at a fast food place. They're not like, I'm a fast food worker, that's who I am. But like, if somebody, I mean, maybe, but like, often people's dignity is tied up in their ability to provide for their family, and when an employer takes that away, it's devastating. I'm emotional. So yeah, so that is very rewarding.
Okay.
That mitigates how much it otherwise sucks.
Okay. And what need to be better to improve the law in the United States?
So this is the question I thought about the most in advance of our discussion. Yeah. And there's almost too many ways to answer that, but I would say I'll limit it maybe to my field of labor and employment. So the default rule in the US is called at-will employment, and I alluded to this earlier. And so at-will employment means that you can be fired at any time and for any reason or no reason without any notice. And it's just not like that in Europe anyway. Like, again, I don't know how anything about Canadian law, but if Queen is still here, who is from Europe, she's from Europe, she's Swedish, she knows kind of like comparatively this is insane. And so I would change the default rule to what unions have, which is called just cause. So the employer must have just cause to fire someone. Then we wouldn't need this patchwork of other laws. And the patchwork is problematic because it is interpreted by judges in very arbitrary ways. So, for example, there is a statute, a federal law that says you cannot be fired because of your sex. So what does that mean? Does that mean sexual orientation? It doesn't say that, but does it mean that? What about, does it mean whether or not you're trans? Like, so that's just been left up to interpretation. That statute used to be interpreted to mean, no, it does not include if you're gay or if you're trans. It only includes just very narrowly, like, gender. Like, if so you can't be fired for being a woman or for being a man. That's it. And that used to be the law, how it was interpreted. And now it's been interpreted, but only as of 2016 or so. Wait, I forget when the case came out, but now it's been interpreted to include both sexual orientation and whether or not you're trans. But like, I just think that if we just had a simple rule, you just need a just cause for being fired, we just wouldn't need this.
You need clarity.
We need clarity and we need simplicity, because now it's like to practice in this area, there's just a million little laws. So like there's one that's about disability, there's one that's about medical leave, there's one that's about age, there's one that's about sex. Those are like the discrimination statutes. Then there's one about whether you can't be fired in a way that is designed to interfere with your retirement benefits. But not if it has that effect without being intended for that. So it's just like, oh my God, let's just have a simple rule.
Okay. Do you have something else to say about the law, or about your job, or that you'd like to?
I'll say this: I am very encouraged right now. There is a big movement, I would say, like kind of a resurgence of the labor movement in the U.S. And that's happening primarily at Starbucks and obviously two giant companies that Amazon especially, I think, is known for mistreating its workers. Starbucks, as a marketing thing, represents itself as a good employer, but both of them are really cracking down on unionization efforts. But I'm encouraged to see that the employees of Amazon and Starbucks are continuing to fight and to unionize. Trader Joe's also. So a lot of, like, over time in the US, union density and the power of unions has just dwindled. And it's starting to come back. And like public opinion of unions is starting to come back, because unions have long been subject to right-wing propaganda about how they're bad. And I think that we're starting to see in the past 5 years a reversal, and I hope that continues. I'm a member of a union, which is not common for lawyers, and it, for so many reasons, has improved my working conditions, because I don't have to rely on the grace of the employer to give me time off. Like, I'm entitled to it because I have a union contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm entitled to work from home. I don't need to rely on an employer to like allow me to do it, because then they can just take it away. So the fact that I have a contract, like, I wish every worker had that.
How many hours you work a week as a lawyer?
So it really depends on, a lot of weeks I just work a normal, like, 45 hours a week. That's very normal. If I have trial coming up, then I'll work, the whole weekend to prepare for trial. And often, like, I have to meet with witnesses who work. So like maybe I'll have my normal work day. I'll meet someone starting at like 6, and then I'll work till like 11 p.m. Those days are not common, but every once in a while I'll have, an epic like 12 or 14-hour day.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not crazy. It's not on in defense firms. Those people are working 70, 80-hour weeks every week. It's not like that at all for me.
Okay. So, Space, we change the subject. Donc, block 3. Donc, Shenmue Theory. Donc, can you tell us about the game Shenmue? What is Shenmue, and what
I
is
will
Shenmue?
do my best.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask you some Shenmue questions, because you've played it more recently than I have.
Yeah.
So, Shenmue is a Dreamcast game that came out in 1999 that is the brainchild of Yu Suzuki, who was mostly an arcade game designer. And this was his first real big project with Sega. And he said, these arcade games, it's like a 3-minute experience. I want to create I want to create a longer narrative experience. And he wanted to do something that really didn't exist in 1999. There were some open world games, but there were not games like Shenmue. Now there are a ton of games like Shenmue.
Mhm.
Like games like
Sleeping
Yakuza,
Dog.
obviously.
Sleeping
Sleeping
Dog.
Dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
But also games like Firewatch.
Ah,
Like that's the name of that game, right? Like these sort of contemplative games of walking around and looking at stuff.
okay. Firewatch
Um,
is on which console? It's PC
uh,
or?
I think it's on Switch, but I just played it on PC.
Okay.
Uh, but like these games that are about sort of like, I mean, I'm not saying Firewatch is just like Shenmue, but I'm saying these kinds of games where you just kind of walk around
Okay.
and like figure stuff out.
We have a resemblance between the two games.
Yeah, or
Okay.
like Shenmue pioneered that in a lot of ways. And so Shenmue at its core is about uh well, it starts, the protagonist is a teenager, an 18-year-old who comes home to discover his dad being killed by a very mysterious figure called Landi,
Mhm.
who demands to see, or who demands that Rio, the protagonist, that his dad reveal the location of a mirror, and uh, Iwao, the dad, will not reveal where the mirror is, although he finally does when Landi threatens to kill Rio. And so then he kills Iwao anyway. And when he does that, he says basically, "Do you remember?" I can't remember his dad's name, but he just says, "Do you remember this guy?"
Mhm.
And he doesn't explain who that is or what happened, but you can infer that Landi, is taking revenge for Iwao having killed someone. And so then
His
that's what
father.
happens.
His father, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is eventually revealed
Yeah.
that it is his father, Landi's
Mhm.
father. So you learn essentially in the first scene of the game that this is a story about revenge kind of coming from both directions.
Yeah.
Revenge for patricide on both sides.
Mhm.
So so that's how Shenmue starts, but what Shenmue actually is, it's a lot of like, it's like, what's this? Like, it's a lot of like looking at things in the environment, examining them very closely, and it's an investigative game.
Yeah. A slow,
But
slow, slow game.
it's a slow game, but it has moments of like quick time events and fighting, and people love those. And then so they think the rest of the game is very tedious because you're just going around like, do you know any sailors?
Mm.
Who is Charlie? And this is me. I'm holding the microphone, passing it to
Yeah.
everyone on the street. Hey, do you know any Chinese people?
Mhm.
And so people think that that's completely
And you,
absurd, but that is most of the game.
and you say yesterday on your stream that everyone know Rio, so you have proximity with the
A
people.
closeness.
Yeah, closeness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so immersive. There are many elements of the game that make it immersive. And yeah, one is exactly as you say, that everybody knows him because it's a small town. And so people feel a sense of, I think, almost like a stewardship for him. Like they want to protect him from himself because they
Mhm.
see that he is this very he seems stoic, but he's actually extremely emotional because he is driven
Yeah.
to commit
Yeah.
violence.
You always say, "I see, I see."
I
I
see.
see.
But you notice like a lot of people in the town are like, don't do something stupid. Like don't throw your life away.
Mhm.
So they care about him and they know him and they know his family. He seems to be from the wealthiest family in the town because his house is way up at the top of the hill. It's this huge house with a dojo.
Ah,
It's almost like I think his dad was
okay.
probably like
It's
one of the most prominent people of the town.
it's symbolic because the house is on the top, on the higher eight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not only because it's high up, but because
Okay.
it's a far larger house. Like the other people that live around there live in much more modest houses, but they have this like palace by comparison.
Okay. So Rio is a rich boy, and they
I
have to.
think so.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Yeah, but he doesn't change his clothes much though. It's
Ever.
he always has his jacket and
Can you imagine what that shirt smells like? He sleeps in it. He never takes off his jeans. He sleeps in his jeans. Those have to be crusty jeans.
the developer didn't have budget to change clothes.
Yeah, at least in Sleeping Dogs you can change your clothes a
Yeah.
lot. You're always very fresh in Sleeping Dogs.
I think Sleeping Dog is a fast pace compared to Shenmue. No?
Yeah, it seems that way. Like I've only watched you play it, but it actually seems to be really not similar to Shenmue, barely at all. I mean, it has superficial similarities, like it's set in Hong Kong. Shenmue 2 is largely set in Hong Kong as well. It's also both games are very interested in representing a Hong Kong that is realistic, but it's realistic in two totally different ways. Like the Shenmue Hong Kong is realistic in the sense that you can open every single door to every single shop to every single apartment. Like it is a level of detail that's like absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Whereas Sleeping Dogs, like the layout is largely true to life, but you can't just like walk into a random restaurant and make the Chawan sign. You know what I mean? So, but I love watching you play it. And then Yakuza games, I've never played, and I don't think you have either.
No,
right?
I will, but I don't know.
I look forward to watching you play them because there are two factions of people. One is like, oh well, Shenmue sucks, and Yakuza does everything Shenmue wanted to do, but it's better. And then there's another faction that says Yakuza doesn't have anything to do with Shenmue. Yakuza, again, only has superficial similarities with Shenmue, but I don't know because I've never played it.
Okay. And what do you think about his girlfriend? But you have a theory first. I want to ask you about the theory of Shenmue at large, and after we go deeper in the. You have a theory.
Wait, the audio cut out again. Can you say that again?
You have a theory about Shenmue with books and some reference. If you want to talk about it.
You want me to talk about that now?
If you want, we are Shenmue block. So.
Yeah, no, I thought you were asking me about Nozomi.
After I will ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I have some books here. These are some of the books that I'm relying on. Some of these are art history books. So as I mentioned, I studied art history. I think it's important to think about methodology in any sort of theorizing of art, and video games I include in art. So I've got some art history books, the most important of which is this book, Lost in Translation by Home King. She is an art historian who is concerned with how like the East is portrayed in film. And there's a sort of famous like touchstone of criticism by Edward Said, which is called Orientalism, which is essentially how the West views the East in a sort of, how to put this, in a way that obviously is not realistic, but in a way that like portrays it as like inscrutable, like this mysterious place. And with that comes other layers that it's also like given feminine traits or given traits of like irrationality, and how obviously that is not a way to humanize anyone. It's exactly the purpose is exactly to dehumanize people, and it's used in a lot of sort of like colonialist propaganda. So anyway, so her project is because I'll say a lot of people have talked about how like racial stereotypes are common in film. So like racist stereotypes are very common in films of a certain era in the present. But she's interested in how things like the props and the backgrounds and just like the scenery also has to do with this idea of Orientalism. And so in Shenmue, that stuff just, to me, that stuff just like pops right out. Um, Her main concept, and this is kind of where my theory is coming from. Um, well, let me back up. Sorry, this is going to take me a second to explain.
Yeah.
I think that that Shenmue and Shenmue 2 really juxtapose a Japan that is marked with signs of American occupation, and also that is just more modernized and westernized. I noticed, like, when you get to the harbor in Shenmue 1, there's an American warship there. Like the setting of Shenmue 1 is there are American sailors everywhere. It's an occupied Japan, right? But and Ryo is a very sort of like modern westernized guy, especially in contrast to I think his family, who they're very dedicated to like
Martial
arts. Yeah, exactly. And Ryo's friends are normal teenagers, and they're interested in video games and motorcycles and girls and stuff like that. And so, and then in contrast, you have this character of Shenhua, who is this sort of like idealized yet infantilized girl who's from like rural China, and he's like having these visions of her.
Yeah.
He's like drawn in by this like mysterious lady, and we've got this mysterious mirror. And the thing about the mirrors that really like, okay, so let me get back to like, you can tell I have obviously not thought through all of this, right? This is very like nascent. We're in early stages of this. But so with that having been said, what you know in the game is that Ryo's dad went to China at some point and stole the mirrors. He stole the mirrors from Shenhua's like town or region. I don't know. Her dad, I believe, made the mirrors. I think that that's correct.
Yeah.
And so and Iwao takes them back to Japan, and Landi is coming to get them back.
So Landi is the good guy.
Well, I don't know if he's the good guy. I don't know if there's a good guy exactly, but Landi is not taking the mirrors away. He's taking them back. And what really like seals the deal for me is when the mirrors, you learn this in Shenmue 2, when the mirrors are all brought together, they project a map.
Yeah.
And the map is supposed to lead to a treasure. And then here's where it gets really confusing. But it's something that has to do with resurrecting the Qing dynasty. And that's just when I was like, okay, this is insane, because the mirrors it's not just, oh, they're leading to treasure and riches. They are leading to a decolonized China. Like, to a China that was intact before it lost all this territory to European colonization. And that just blew my fucking mind. Like, this game, and again, I don't think that Yu Suzuki is like, I'm setting out to make a game about like the relationship between China and Japan. I don't think that that's what he set out to do, but I think that that layer is present. And I think that layer is present. Hang on, let me just one more thing. I have another book.
Yeah.
This is the Wind Up Bird Chronicle, and this is totally unrelated, except this is related to what I theorize is a very unresolved sort of culture-wide a failure of Japan to fully account for its war crimes committed in China in the 1930s and 40s, which were at a scale, at a crazy scale. Hundreds of thousands of people massacred. And this book is one of the only pieces of Japanese media where I've seen that addressed head on. And so this is otherwise like not related at all. But so I view Ryo's dad as stealing these mirrors on a trip to China, that kind of invokes this entire theme of like, because I mean, Japan invaded Manchuria, invaded Hong Kong. Like, the place is in the game. Kowloon had a huge population boom because, I think this is true, because of the Japanese invasion of Hong Kong, that people fled to the walled city of Kowloon.
Okay.
And Ryo is just chasing. He's just chasing. So anyway, that's like, I know I said that in kind of a like incoherent way, but those are all the threads of my Shenmue theory right now.
Do you prefer the third end of Shenmue 2, or you say it surprised you? It's the resurrection of the
Qing Dynasty?
Yeah. Do you prefer the third end, or maybe a battle with Lang Di? Maybe something else?
I'm glad that it doesn't come to that. Yu Suzuki has said that it's his intent that Ryo not kill Lan Di, that he will never kill Lan Di. That's not the plot that he intends, which to me means that Ryo realizes that is a bad idea. Not just that he fails to do it, but that he chooses not to do it. So the end of Shenmue 2, I mean, it's strange because it does have this supernatural element out of nowhere.
Magic.
Like all of a sudden, there's magic, right? And the whole series up to that point had never relied on any supernatural thing ever. And all of a sudden it's there. But that's the only thing that makes sense for resurrecting the Qing Dynasty. Like, what does that even mean? That has to be some sort of magical thing. Otherwise, it just doesn't make any sense. So I actually love that. I'm totally okay with it, but I don't understand where it's going.
Okay. And can you tell us about the Qing Dynasty? I don't know.
The Qing Dynasty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not much. It was the last dynasty of Imperial China. It ended, I think, in 1911 or 12. So before Japan invaded. And at the time that it failed, it was obviously very weak. And it had lost Taiwan, it had lost Hong Kong. And then China then had a lot of tumult, let's say, through the present in terms of, there was a nationalist movement, a communist movement. The communist movement ended up prevailing, but then sort of becoming capitalism. Anyway, that's sort of beyond the scope. But the Qing Dynasty was the last time that I think in the mind of, like in game, in the Chiyu Men, that's like the sort of criminal underground, that was the last time that they really had like their complete dignity in terms of their borders and in terms of their power, like as a nation. I'm not ascribing this belief to anyone real, but I think that that's how the Chiyu Men feels.
Okay. Now we talk about his girlfriend. His girlfriend in
Nozomi.
Okay. So,
yeah, what do you want to say about Nozomi?
Why did she choose Canada? Do you have some idea about that? I really don't know. Why she?
Well, I don't exactly know. What I'll say about that is that you notice, like, so the dying words of Ryo's dad are, keep your friends, those who you love, close to you. And Ryo does not do that. So Nozomi obviously has feelings for Rio. And there's some question about how he feels toward her. He uses a different tone of voice with her. He softens his voice with her. He
Mm-hmm.
does care for her. I don't think he's like in love with her, but he cares for her. Um, and she leaves. She leaves to go live her life. Whereas he abandons any sort of normal path his life was on for revenge. He throws everything away for revenge.
Yeah.
All of his friendships cast completely aside in the single-minded pursuit for revenge. So I think Nozomi can represent um, whether she goes to Canada or not, just somebody who is just on a sort of normal path in 1986. Nozomi doesn't realize that Rio is in a kung fu movie and she's not. Like Rio thinks I'm in a kung fu movie and I'm gonna act that out. Nozomi's just a normal person.
Yeah.
Same with Naoyuki, like his other friends. They're just like, what are you doing? Let's just be normal. Like stop. Like she keeps saying to him, you need to stop.
Yeah.
You're being insane. So
And
she's like a voice of reason.
And she work in a flower shop.
Does Aida Flowers? Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
there's a sense to that, maybe. Flower shop.
Maybe. I never really thought about it. It's like flowers, purity, femininity.
Symbolic.
I mean, she does represent in a way a very idealized like girl. You know, she's very innocent. And then like you have Joy, who's like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Who's like super sexualized, American, motorcycle chick. So yeah.
And she lives in Hong Kong. So
she lives in Hong Kong.
Yeah. And she loves Rio.
She definitely seems to. Yeah. And I haven't thought about Joy very much, to be honest.
And Rio saved her too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Remind me what he does. Remind me what Rio does.
I think it's the building in the Yellow Heads when he fight the guy with a weird move. I don't know his name, but
that guy's really important. That guy's name, I forget it. It's some alias. That guy has the same fighting style as Londi, the Swallow Tiger fighting style, which nobody else fights with, I don't think. And so, and you notice he's like masked. He looks like a Soul Calibur character. Like he doesn't look like a person. He looks like something out of like a fantasy game. He is so fascinating to me, and I cannot figure out like who he is. But I think I mean, I don't know how you're gonna answer this. Did you think he was like super fascinating and strange? That guy?
Yeah, because he fight 2 times, I think. So when you fight with him, there is 1 time.
That's right.
And then there's 2 times. So, but I think it's really important. Joy and this man, maybe symbolic. I don't know, but.
Well, what do you think it symbolizes?
Maybe the strength to. Don't know.
I don't know either. I just think that there must be something to him because he just doesn't look like anyone else in the game. Everybody else in both games, and I'm just talking about Shenmue 1 and 2 because I've not played Shenmue 3. They're just like normal people.
And you fight him.
And this guy,
you fight him in a cage.
That's right. It's a cage match. It's in the Yellowhead building, which is the Chiyumen building.
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry, not Chiyumen building.
Yeah, it's not only Rio that fight him. When Rio come to the room, there's some other guy that fight him that lose, and then Rio.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been too long since I've played it. All I really remember about that guy is just being obsessed with how weird he looked. Like he looks. Have you seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut? Like he looks like somebody out of that movie where he's got like a Venetian mask and he's wearing like feathers. Like he just doesn't look like a normal person in 1987 Hong Kong. Like he looks like a total weirdo. I love it.
I think
So
Joy,
interesting.
I think Joy is the princess and this guy is the dragon. And Ryo tried to save her, but it doesn't have some effect on
Oh,
Ryo. It's there is a wall between Joy and.
that's interesting. So yeah, I want to figure out like what's up with this guy.
Mm.
I want to learn more about this guy. I think he's going to play some role in what I eventually produce. Cuz he's such a choice. Like Yu Suzuki made such a choice in the character design that I have to look into that. It's so deliberate, but I just don't know what it means.
Yeah. What do you think about Ren?
I love Ren. I think Ren and Wong are my favorite characters. They're so much fun.
Okay, he's a thief.
He's a thief, and he's like totally amoral.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
But he didn't steal anything at the end.
What do you mean?
Because he stuck with Ryo because he wanted to have some money or
That's
anything,
right.
and then at the end he doesn't have anything. So
yeah, I'm sure that there's going to be a longer character development for Ren. I know in Shenmue 3 I'm going to spoil this part, but it's whatever. That game's been out for like 4 years. He is in, I forget what town. He's like in some city.
okay.
And Ryo just finds him. They just find each other, but they haven't been like together most of the game. And then they find each other, and then they like they find Londi. They like seek him out for a fight, and Ryo and Ren like burst into the room where like Londi's headquarters.
Okay.
And they beat up his bodyguards, and Londi is just watching. And then Londi stands up, and I think Ryo says like, I need to do this alone or something like that. And of course, Londi is just like dodge. like Ryo cannot land a hit on him. And so my complaint about Shenmue 3 is that like there's no change in the circumstances at all. Like you've just spent however many hours going through Shenmue 3. You still cannot even harm Londi. And then at the end of the game, he's just gone, and you're just standing there exactly like how Shenmue 2, not how Shenmue 2 ended, but how it ended in Kowloon. So yeah, I find Shenmue 3 pretty unsatisfying, even though I haven't played it. I'm not crazy about it. Okay. Are you gonna play Shenmue 3?
No, some people in my chat say it's not worth it. So
yeah, I saw someone in your chat say that, and I agree.
Where I'm going with this? Okay, Ren is a thief.
Yeah, I don't have any like interesting comments on Ren. I just like him. Okay. I just think he's cool.
Okay, what do you think of Master Chen?
So he must know something, right? Master Chen. Somebody in my chat yesterday was pointing out that Master Chen is not honest with Ryo, and I don't remember. Do you know what that refers to? I don't remember.
He's not honest about what?
I have no idea. I don't know.
It's in the port. I remember Master Chen is in the port with his son. I don't remember the name.
Guizan, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's symbolic before, not Master Chen, but his son, that broke his leg, so he can go to Hong Kong with Ryu.
Is that what happens? I obviously need to replay the game. So wait, Guizan breaks his leg, and that's why he can't go?
Yeah, the first one, yeah. At the end, before he take the boat, you battle with the guy with...
Chai, yeah.
Yeah.
the like crazy, like methed out guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because Guizan, you know what's interesting? The same voice actor who plays Guizan plays Ren, and they are sort of similar characters. They both have a role in kind of like protecting Rio and working with him, but they each have their own agenda that is not very clear. So like Master Chen, I feel like Master Chen might be a sort of double agent. Like he seems to deal with the cartel with the Chia Men, but is not necessarily a part of it. I wonder if, I mean, there must be something to gain for him. He's the one, is he the one that translates the letter?
Yeah.
No.
No?
Wait, no, I think the lady at the antique shop does that, right?
Yeah.
And then it gives the phone number or like the code
Yeah.
that's like Father's Heaven, Comrades, or whatever, the code.
Dragon,
Yeah.
comrade.
Mother's Dragon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother's Dragon. Is that what it is? Father's Heaven?
Wait, father.
I don't remember. But that's what you need to say in the right order to speak with Master Chen. And the person who sends that letter is Yuan Dezu, who is a comrade of Iwao and of Landi's dad. So Master Chen, I'm not really sure where he fits in, but he does seem to be, he's like implicated in all of this. I just don't know how.
Master Chen, you can interact with him face to face. You need to speak to the phone to have a meeting. It's not. I don't know how to say it, but it's not.
Like he's not accessible. Like
yeah,
you have
it's not
go
easy to
through,
access.
Yeah, you have to go through these. It's like a spy movie. Like you have to call and say a code and hang up, and then you meet him, and you can only meet him in this dark warehouse. So that makes me think there is something about him that's a little bit like he dabbles in criminality somehow, but I don't know how. What I mean, do you have a Master Chen theory? I want to hear your thoughts.
No, I only ask. But the relation with the phone and the Master Chen, you can access in. Sounds strange. It's not in normal life, not Rio normal life. It's Rio. There is a lot of life in this game. Rio has.
Yeah, but I mean that's how they treat everything Chinese in the game. Everything Chinese in the game is like shrouded in mystery. Like except for, I mean, the Chinese people who are living normal lives more or less have like assimilated. They've taken Japanese names, almost all of them. Like you talk to Itoi-san, he goes, years ago I was Chinese. Now I'm a naturalized Japanese citizen. It's all like the game, it like equates Chineseness with like mystery, which is obviously problematic in its own right, but besides that, it's interesting as a piece of art. That is what is interesting about it to me, and why I am connecting it, especially to Home King's book. Like that's like the entry point for the whole theory for me. Okay. Also, hi, Denis.
You called the police with the phone in Shenmue. I think yeah? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, you know what happens?
No.
So you dial the number on your rotary phone. You dial the number. And as soon as you dial the number, Rio just hangs up. And he goes, no, I'm going to handle this myself. There's no point in calling the police.
Okay.
Did you ever call Nozomi?
No, I didn't use a phone. So just for Master Chen, but not...
I mean, the phone is extremely tedious.
Yeah.
Did you know that there's a phone book? I just learned this yesterday. There's a phone book in the Hazuki house. So you can actually look up the number to warehouse number 8. In the phone book. Just like real. Okay. I love that. Okay. Like the game is so obsessed with detail. It has a logic to it that is very close to reality. Like you need to know a phone number, get out the phone book. It's dark in the room. You can buy a light bulb. You can buy a flashlight. You can light a candle. Like these are all logical things you can do in reality that are in the game. It's like logical puzzle solving. I love that. There's a cat. Well, there's a convenience store that sells tuna. figure it out. It's like real life. Figure it out.
Mm. And do you put the radio in Shenmue? You can
Say that
buy
again.
the radio. Did you you can have a radio and buy some
My cassette
yeah,
tapes.
cassette. Yeah.
Yes. And I love that the cassettes you can buy, you can go play at the bar.
Yeah.
Like there's so much. Oh, I just love it. I love Shenmue. Like the more I learn about it, the more I love it. The more I understand what it really is, what it's trying to do. Um, because it is only like so I was listening to a Yu Suzuki interview. I'm spending hours every day like absorbing Shenmue information. And Yu Suzuki was saying that when he set out to make Shenmue, he did not care. He had no familiarity with kung fu movies, which blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that further kind of like reinforces to me that there's just more to this game than that.
Mm-hmm.
Than like, oh, we're fighting and we're getting revenge. That's already obvious if you play the game because so much of the game is like, let's look at uh this gotcha toy, or like let's look at this vase and we're gonna examine it. And like it's so much a game that is about investigation.
Needy, what are those books? Game books?
These books? These are art books. These are art history books. And then a random novel. I recommend this novel, by the way. Murakami novel, The Wind Up Bird Chronicle. It's excellent. It has one scene in here that is relevant to the Shenmue theory. A scene that takes place in Manchuria, and it's really upsetting. I won't spoil it though.
Yeah.
It's about torture. Sorry.
So, a lift course in the port. You can do some lift course in the port in Shenmue 1. And
the forklift race?
Forklift. My English.
No, it's okay.
Forklift, yeah. And there's a guy, black guy, here.
I think his name is Mark.
Yeah. Wonder why. I'm not racist on anything, just to be sure. I wonder why it's a black guy. Why it's not an Asian that is here? Is this some sort of? I don't know.
So I don't know either. I guess my thought on that is that like so a lot of the sailors are not Japanese. Like they are foreign, and you know they're foreign because they're black or they're white.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think so any port city like brings in foreigners, right? But I think like I mentioned earlier that the the whole like harbor part introduces a theme of sort of an occupied Japan, a post-war Japan. Some of the characters, when you talk to them, like have family members who were in the war. But the presence of people like Mark or the sailors or whatever shows a couple of things. I think it's like that there's like a tension because there's like some multiculturalism, but not really, because as the Chinese people who now live in Yokosuka show, like if you want to be Japanese, you have to like abandon, like shed your Chinese identity. Almost. It seems that way. Like you take a Japanese name, and the fact that you're Chinese is almost it's like suppressed in order to fit in Japanese society, in contrast to like the United States, where being like Chinese American, that's just like a normal thing. Like that the I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that because I don't have that experience, but like so I take that back. I don't have that experience, so I can't really speak to that. Okay. But what I can say that in the game, it appears that there's like you're either a foreigner or you're Japanese. And so Mark is obviously a foreigner. And I think he's there because there are Well, some of the foreign workers say that they're there, like the Chinese workers say they're there because they can make more money in Japan and then send it back.
But Mark,
I think.
yeah. Go on, Shannon Space. You have.
No, I don't remember what I was going to say, but like I guess Mark just probably works for like an international company and they needed an experienced foreman to work in the harbor. And so that's why Mark is there. I don't know.
But Mark got hurt in the game, if I remember. It's Mark or it's Goryu. I don't remember which one. I think got hurt by the gang. I don't remember the name of the gang.
Yeah, wait, remind me what happens.
There was a gang that hurt. I don't.
The Mad Angels.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did they hurt Mark? Do you remember?
No, that's not.
Me neither. They probably hurt Mark because Mark is helping Ryo. I assume. No, Ryo is not Chinese. No. Denis, what do you mean? No, that's not what I'm saying. But yeah, Mark, I mean, Mark is another character who almost has like a paternal attitude toward Ryo, and cares for him.
His second father?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but he shows a paternal care for Ryo. And we also abandon him. We abandoned Nozomi, Tom, all of the friends.
Okay.
Oh, Old Time says, anything wrong with Shenmue 1, 2, and 2 for Xbox? No. It's $4.99? No, you absolutely should get that. So those are the versions that you played, Sakaday.
On Steam. On Steam, you mean the version? It's the remake. Shenmue 1. This is a package, Shenmue 1 and 2.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be the same version of the game that you played, and I think it's almost unchanged. So I think you absolutely should play it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I can't believe it's that cheap. That's amazing. They're totally worth playing. They can, if you're not into what Shenmue is trying to do, then I mean, obviously you're going to hate it. But I think people hate Shenmue for like the wrong reason. They hate it for being a Shenmue game. It's like this is a slow game. It's a slow game. Yeah,
it's a slow game. That's why they hate it. Yeah. Not, because most game it's fast. It's you click on a button and then there's a reaction. It's not. There's a lot of dialogue too. It's.
There's a lot. Actually, this brings me to a point of contrast I was making with Sleeping Dogs. Like. Every time I see you get in the car in Sleeping Dogs, like you can set a route and then arrows show up to tell you where to go.
Yeah.
And then it says your objective is in like 100 meters, 90 meters, 80 meters until you're right there. Shenmue does not care about that at all. Shenmue is like, you need to go and ask people and they'll give you context clues. So like yesterday playing Shenmue, you talk to this girl. You don't know what you're supposed to do next, but she says, "Oh, you're trying to figure out what's this black car where Londi got in the car and drove off. So what's up with the black car?" So you ask this child, and she's like, "Oh yeah, the black car it hurt Yamagishi-san, and I talk to him sometimes when I go to the candy shop." And so from that you learn approximately where he is, but not exactly. And there's nothing on the map that says the candy shop. So you just have to like build on this information in a very natural way. Whereas it's not like, okay, well, in 12 meters, turn left and then talk to this guy and here is your objective. Like you have to just treat it like a real life thing. I love that.
So why in Shenmue 2 you can ask for direction, the person can take you anywhere you want, and in Shenmue 1 you can do that. Do you have
I never thought about that. I assume it's because they're trying to make the game it's like a quality of life improvement, but I'm not sure. I don't know how realistic that is.
Is this because the Ryo is in Hong Kong? Maybe
Yeah, but if I were to like walk out of my house and say, "Hey, where is the pharmacy?" No one's going to be like,
No.
"Follow me." Like they'll tell you, but they're not going to walk you there.
You don't
I
do that.
assume
You don't do that in United States, no.
I don't. I don't, but only because it's like an imposition. Um I think I don't know why they did that. Do you have a thought on that? It sounds like maybe you have a thought on that.
Because it's Hong Kong and Japan. Maybe like your theory, you said the West and the East. No.
I assume
I
it's
don't know.
just because they were trying to make the game a little bit easier for the player, and because um like the map is just so dense. Like the Hong Kong map in Shenmue 2 is enormous.
Mhm.
And as we've discussed
Yeah.
earlier, you can open every single door and go into every single shop, and only a tiny fraction of those shops are required that you enter. And so, like in Sleeping Dogs, for example, you can't go into anywhere that you're not supposed to go. But in Shenmue 2, it's like there's one place you can go and like 500 other places, 500 NPCs.
Mhm.
And so maybe it's just to like help the player a little bit. Like, okay, well, rather than you spending the next 5 days of your life opening the door to every pawn shop, I'll take you to the right pawn shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he got his bag still when he came to Hong Kong.
He did get his bag stolen
Mhm.
because he's a naive child, basically, traveling for the first time. But he got it stolen by one of the best characters in the game. Doesn't Wong steal it? I love Wong.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he becomes like an older brother to Wong at the end of it. Um, I don't think Wong is in Shenmue 3. I don't know, but I don't think so. I want to like see some character development for him because he's so cool.
Mm.
Oh wait, Denise says my only experience with Shenmue was reading a test in a video game magazine when I was a child. What do you mean? I was amazed at the Dreamcast. I want to know more.
Yeah, he just read a text in a magazine about Shenmue. He didn't play the game, so.
I've seen like screenshots of like articles when it came out and the articles were really focused on like the facial animation, which now again looks dated, but like I don't know. I think like maybe that was technically the most impressive thing. Like all the NPCs have absolutely like distinct faces and voices, and there are hundreds. There are more than 300 NPCs in Shenmue 1, and they all have their own lives. They all have names and lives and places that they go, their routines. It's insane. It's incredible. It's an incredible game.
Yeah, there is a character that we didn't talk. Goryu. I don't remember his name.
Goro?
Goro, yeah, he gets married and
Oh my god, I forgot he gets married. Yeah, he's like the greaser.
he's the opposite of Ryu.
How so?
Ryu doesn't get married to any girl in the game. There's three girls important in the Shenmue. There is the flower girl, there is Joy, and there is Shinwa. And yeah.
And Shuing. But yeah, no, you're right. So yeah, Goro Goro is more interested in girls than he is in anything else. He's relatable. And then he comes up again at the end of Shenmue 2. I remember harassing you to make sure that you listen to that dialogue. But then in
Yeah.
Japanese it like wasn't funny at all. But in the English dub it's hilarious.
Okay.
When Shenhua's like, "Tell me about your life back in Japan." And he's like, "Oh man, there was this guy named Goro. He kept calling me bro out of nowhere." It's so fun. It's such a funny one.
The run with Shenhua is so fun, so fun.
I could feel your soul dying.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this: what are your thoughts and feelings? Like, I can't tell if you like the games or if you sort of respect them from afar. Like, what do you actually think about Shenmue?
I like some aspect of the game.
Tell me.
When it's too slow, I love the QTE. the QTE, when you need to press some button
I
to.
hate the QTE, but
I love
okay,
it. I
interesting.
love it. I hate it at first, but after, yeah. And you
It's
must.
probably because you're good at it.
Yeah, maybe. I love the arcade. If you remember, at the Yellowheads building, there is an arcade in. You must climb some stairs, and there's an arcade. I don't remember it's playing or anything.
Hmm.
It sounds so strange. Don't figure out why there is an arcade at this place. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
The game kept crashing for me in the Yellowhead building because there's like a hang-on machine, I think,
Okay.
like in that like spooky arcade. Yeah, the game kept crashing, so I couldn't play it. But so yeah, so let's talk about that part at the end of Shenmue 2 when you're just walking with Shenhong
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that's there?
Because he loved running. No. No, no. No, no,
No,
no.
for real.
No, because he live his ancient life to go to his new life, I think. And it's very long to, and he talks about his past. So after he talk about his past, but he never gonna experiment his past again, and he go on.
Yeah, like I think a lot of players when they play Shenmue 2, they get to the part where Landy leaves in a helicopter and they think that that's the end of the game,
Mm-hmm.
which I did. And then you realize no, there's a whole fourth act to the game. And it's just you walking in the woods with some girl who you've been seeing though since the opening credits of Shenmue 1. You have seen
Yeah.
this girl.
Yeah.
And now you finally meet her and she's talking about the most mundane shit. Like yeah, sometimes there are landslides here. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Life in the village is pretty quiet. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's not just find one direction. There's a Rio running, but the Rio you need to find a direction in the forest to go at some place you don't know where. It's there's two things.
that's true.
Different.
And it goes on forever. And I'm trying to think about it, like from a game design perspective. It is like you're driving a race car and then it just like it breaks and then you're just crawling for the next like several hours.
It's always the same. There's they talk, and after they race, they talk, they race, and after they go to
right.
they go to
You're right.
a grotto, a cavern. Yeah.
Grotto works as well in English, but you're right. I'm oversimplifying it. It's not just walking and talking, quick time events, and running, but it's such an abrupt change from the rest of the game.
But
and I just go ahead.
In a way, it's more faster than he run than the rest of the game that is slow. It's at the end he go fast, and during the game it's not always slow, but there's some slow times. So
that is true. I was watching a YouTube video where someone was saying that was their like favorite part of the game, or that's the part that they remember so fondly because it was like just so peaceful. But I don't know. When I was playing the game, when I was actually playing the games, I had a very different opinion of them than I do now. Like I did not understand what they were trying to do. I just wasn't interested in what the games were trying to do. And so I was just like just trying to mash buttons to get through the text. Like, let's go. But I think now like it reminds me in a way of like the forklift, not the forklift racing, but just the forklift doing the work, moving the boxes. It's like, well, this is what it's like to walk for hours and get to know someone, and you're just talking. and like that's just, I don't know, it's realistic. I don't know if it's realistic in a way that's interesting, but it's realistic in a way that underlines the contrast with other parts of the game. I don't know.
Maybe
I think it's very strange.
yeah, maybe the developer want to show us that you can speak to people outside the game, not only in the game. It's, to be with.
Yeah. It it deepens the character of Rio a lot for me because he can be very very stoic in conversation, like I see. But with Shenhua, he's curious. He's more open. He shares things, so it develops his character as well. That he has this person that he like innately trusts, and there's like a mutual sharing between them.
So it's open up as the game advance. At the end, he more open, and then.
I think so. Because he and Ren are friends, but he doesn't trust Ren like half of the time. Because Ren is like a mercenary. So with Shenhua, like hearing him reflect on the life he left behind is, I think, important, like you said. For like, he really is like there's like a very clear before and after line in his life where there was a before time, and then my dad was murdered, and now there's an after, and there's no going back.
This game is a sequence event. The first is Japan, then Hong Kong, then the four sequence. I think
yeah, and what I really want to know is, are we going to get a Shenmue 4? And if so, what's going to happen? Because Shenmue 3 ends on the Great Wall, which could mean a few things. To me, that means they're going to the north. I know I keep bringing it back to Japan's invasion of various places in China, but its invasion of Manchuria was like one of its first colonial foray into China in modern times. So they're going back to the scene of the crime, or it's just the Great Wall is like, this stands for China, but they're already in China. So we don't need a sort of generic, like, we're in China now, and you know that because of the Great Wall. Like, we don't need that. We know we're in China. So I think it's specifically saying we're going to a wall that's in the north, because we're going to the north. But I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't. Oh, wait, people in chat are talking about Shenmue 4. I don't think crowdfunding will work for 4 this time. I think that's correct. Shenmue in space. Shenmue in space. Rio goes to space to get revenge.
On
so
Mars.
you said you're not going to play Shenmue 3, correct?
No. Okay. But not on live. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, I have it on my Steam. Maybe I.
You do?
Yeah, I have it.
You have it, and you're not going to play it?
I'm gonna play it, but not on Twitch.
Not on. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as you're playing it, I hope you will tell me your thoughts on it. Because I don't, from a gameplay perspective, I think it's going to be a lot like the other games. A lot of talking to people, following breadcrumbs. But the combat is really different. This was a big criticism of Shenmue 3. Like, you can just button mash your way through Shenmue 3. It's not designed to really reward practice. It's designed to reward grinding. So it's not like learning combos like it was in Shenmue 1 and 2.
I think the 3 has more many games. Many games.
Yeah, but they're like bad. People are telling me that they're terrible. Wait, so Denis says, I also have it, never played any Shenmue. Thanks, Epic Games, by the way.
On Epic Games, you can have a free game, so I think Shenmue 3 pop up.
Yeah. But yeah, the crowdfunding thing was weird because it showed that, like, I don't know. the budget of the game was really low compared to the first game. Sorry.
Oh.
And it showed. So we'll see. I don't think we'll get one, but maybe I'll be.
Okay. Do you have an? I think we will
Sorry.
end here, Space. You have.
All right.
Yeah. So do you have another thing to say about Shenmue? Maybe a character that will maybe the Tom rapidly. Thomas. Don't remember.
Tom,
No.
the hot dog seller.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Tom. Tom is a good guy. Tom also leaves. He flies back to the U.S. after teaching Rio a very good kick move. But yeah, no, thank you for having me and for discussing Shenmue with me and the law
It's a
and
pleasure.
video games generally. No, it's an absolute pleasure as
Mhm.
well. So yeah. So what games are you playing next? That'll be my last question to you.
Super Mario Galaxy 2, Timedia, Soul Game, the Stanley Parade. I have my list, but I don't know. The Stanley
Oh, it's
Parade.
the Stanley Parable? Yep.
Yeah. Lego Jurassic Park, Kingdom Hearts, 365 Days,
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter Rise. If we finish World one day. I know there's some other games. Mega Man 20XX. It's a fun game. Mega Man fan game. So, and I think that's it. But if you want to know the games, just scroll down and see my video. It's already there. So, yeah. And you, Space, what is after Final Fantasy X? What are you?
That's a good question. I don't have anything in mind. I guess I'll play through Shenmue 1 and 2 again because obviously my memory of them is very weak in places. So I'll play through those again.
Mhm.
But after that, I don't know. Like you're so much more organized than I am. Like I
Yeah.
don't have any plan for the stream really at all. So whatever seems fun. I've got some Resident Evil games that hurt, and some other people have recommended. So maybe those games.
Ok.
We'll see.
It's Nick qui demande: Are you disappointed by Shenmue 3? You didn't
Oh,
play.
I assume invert because I haven't played it. But I think I've expressed my disappointment in what I know about it.
Okay. So, do you have some question for your guest today? It's time for if you have some question you want to ask about justice as a lawyer, or maybe the Shenmue theory, or the different character we talk about, or maybe on the Twitch that Space has a Twitch channel that Space has. So it's the time. So everyone, if you have some question, well, fake Shenmue stand. Okay.
Hey, I didn't say I'm a fan of all things Shenmue. I still have my Shenmue critique.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, this whole thing is a Shenmue critique.
Will you play Sleeping Dog, Space?
On what console or system is it?
PC, or PS4. I don't remember.
Right. I don't have a PS4. I doubt that my computer can run it.
Okay.
You know what I think I will play is GTA 3.
Oh.
Because GTA 3 I can't play in an emulator.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'll have a very similar experience. Like GTA 3 was really what killed the Dreamcast. It is said.
Dini qui demande: Do you recommend the series? Real question.
Real question. So, Denis, I mean, it depends on what games you like. I'm not going to recommend it to somebody who's only interested in, let's say,
Fortnite.
Yeah, I was going to say, or taking shots at Fortnite.
Mm.
If you're interested in games that are sort of contemplative or reflective games, then I would recommend it. So like I was saying otherwise, or like I was saying earlier about Firewatch, I would recommend it to somebody who likes Firewatch, even though that might not make sense.
I would check it.
Okay.
Vertical, do you have some question for Space about today interview?
Vert has heard me talk about Shenmue so much. Embarrassing. I doubt he has any questions.
Okay. So,
thank you once again for having me.
Yeah. So you choose the raid Space. So where are we going?
Oh.
Yeah. I'll let the guest choose the raid.
I would raid Cal, who was here earlier, Caladius.
Okay. Can you write it in the chat?
Yes. He is racing in Ocarina of Time.
Okay. So, Caladius. Okay. There you go. See. So the episode will be available on Twitch and in YouTube later today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the talk show. So thank you, Space, for being here.
Thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, raid.
My God, creepy Soma. You're.
Okay,
see ya.
Ok. Bon, merci Space.
Thank you. All right. I really appreciate it.
Ok. Bon. Fait que
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too.